Hey guys, good morning. I'm here for reading sprints. Super excited to be back to doing this. It's been a couple months, but I was doing these really regularly and I really enjoyed them because I got to get together with lots of other readers. We would make good progress on our books and then chat a little bit in the in-between time. It's just really fun and enjoyable. And so I'm really excited to be getting back into the reading sprints. So if you're new to reading sprints with me, I usually will just do them in 10-minute increments. I don't do anything super fancy. There's no big timer on the camera. I just set an alarm on my phone and then read for 10, 15 minutes and then stop, take a moment to chat, and then go from there. So, hey, Lily, long time no read. Yeah, it has been quite a bit. I was just saying in the intro here, I'm so excited to be back to doing this. Life has just been so chaotic the last few months while I've been settling into this new job. And then we took off some time to go travel. And unfortunately, it just left very little time for YouTube in general, not just like the live streams, but also just videos and everything. But I'm happy to say like life is kind of finally settling into a place where I have some time to do this again. So I'm going to be doing these on Thursdays. Unfortunately, because my schedule does fluctuate, I don't always have a set time. So I'm going to be trying to schedule them a month out. So that way you can always see in advance like what time they're going to be. So I have scheduled all of my live streams through the end of May. And I'm happy to say that I was able to find time on every single Thursday through the month. So here we are. All right. So Lily, you're reading Secluded Cabin Sleep 6 by Lisa Unger. I've read that book. It was okay for me. I don't think I loved it, but I didn't hate it either. Let's see. Happy to see you back. I am so happy to be back, and I'm so happy to see familiar faces popping in. It's nice to get to say hello to everybody. Hey, Nadim, how are you doing today? What are you reading? Tell us all the things. Lily says, hi, Nadim. Okay, so let me just put up my little message for people that pop in, and then we will get started with the sprint in just a minute. Sprints. Let us know you are reading. Sorry, I tend to talk while I type. And Google. Okay. Auto message is complete. So let's see. Nadim was reading Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. Man, we've got a lot of thrillers going on today. So we've got Riley Sager, we've got Lisa Unger. Anybody else popping in that is reading a thriller today? Let's see. Hello, Lily. Nadim, I loved that book. Oh, good. Well, that's positive. And hey, my mom's popping in. Hey there, I'm reading Dark Matters. It's a buddy read, In Limbo and Direct Descendant. So Dark Matters, there's another thriller, Blake Crouch. That's a good one. I actually really did enjoy that one. It's got that sci-fi element. I'm not familiar with In Limbo or Direct Descendant. Have you read Home Before Dark? This is my favorite book. Okay, so we've got some Riley Sager fans in. So I am breaking the trend of thrillers. I'm reading Chlorine by Jade Song. This is like literary horror here. And it was recommended to me by my friend Jamie at Jamie Kate. She's really into literary horror. And when I read The Eyes Are the Best Part by Monica Kim, she suggested that I try this one. Said it's kind of that similar, like very literary horror. And then I also have After Parties by Anthony Viazna. So this is a short story collection. And I did find with sprints, like last time when I was doing more regular sprints, that I actually really enjoyed having a short story collection to read throughout the month. And I would just like read a couple short stories per like sprint. So I'm probably going to read both. So I'm going to start with Chlorine and I'll read a good chunk of Chlorine, see how that goes. And then maybe for the last couple sprints, I'll hit some of the short stories in here. So hopefully everybody is set up. I decided today to treat myself. I went to one of my favorite local coffee shops and got myself a creme brulee latte. Nice little indulgence this morning. And I have some of my favorite bookmarks here. And you can't see her from this angle, but I can show you. Miss Luna is crashed out by my feet. I expect at some point she'll be trying to jump up here for the reading sprints. All right, a few more comments. Nadim, I just finished Home Before Dark last week. Really enjoyed it. In July, I'll be reading his book, House Across the Lake. Lily says, hi, Rochelle. In Limbo is a graphic book. Direct Descendants is a cozy horror. Awesome. Hopefully those go well for you. Hey, how's it going? Let's see. At Lily, House Across the Lake is a good book. Good. I'm listening to Daughter of Tides. Awesome. I'm not familiar with that one. Let me look it up real quick. Daughter of Tides. This is so exciting to hear like several books that I'm unfamiliar with. Like a lot of the times I feel like I'm like, oh, read that one. Haven't heard of that one. Okay, Daughter of Tides. So now I'm curious because that doesn't happen often. Is that the one by Kit Rocha? It's a series. Looks like fun, actually, if that's the one you're talking about. I'm so excited for that one, Nadeem. I'm definitely a new fan. Awesome. Well, I'm excited that we have a couple of people on the same page with the thrillers and recommendations and everything. So I'm going to set up a sprint real quick. I'm thinking just to get back in the swing of things, we'll start with a 10-minute sprint. Yes, a fantasy. Okay, cool. That's the series that I was looking at. It's got good ratings and it looks like it's good. Are you enjoying it so far? All right, so I'm going to set up 10 minutes on the alarm here. Timers. 10 minutes. And we'll start with that 10 minutes and see how everybody does from there. Let me pull up my comments. Okay. All right, so 10 minutes are on the clock. I'll see you guys then. See how much progress we can all make. All right, first reading sprint is done. Okay, guys, how did you do with your book? I made it to page 7 in terms of the actual story, but I also read a couple pages of an author's note, and I am excited. This book started off with a bang. I have a few comments to catch up on, so let's see. It's pretty good, yeah. So this is the series we were talking about just a minute ago, starting with the book Daughter of the Tides. I'm glad that that was a good, or it's a good series so far. Hey, stranger, popping in to say hello. So happy you're reading Chlorine. Love that book so much. Well, if you're still here, I don't know if you just popped in and out and then took off, but if you're still here, this is starting off with a bang. I really actually liked the first few pages. Yeah, there's some really interesting stuff, and the style is very gripping immediately. Hey, Cynthia, how are you doing today? I'm starting my buddy read of Dark Matter. Oh, I hope that you and my mom really enjoy that. I actually really liked Dark Matter. It has that kind of nice blend of like sci-fi and thriller, and I feel like Crouch does a pretty good job of making like really intense sci-fi that stays engaging throughout. It doesn't get like too lost in like the technology and whatnot. I started A Sea of Unspoken Things last night, and it's so good. Okay, I have to look that one up now too. I think is that what's her name? Adriana Young. I think that's who that is. I have to look it up now because that'll bother me if not. Sea of Unspoken Things. I'm pretty sure that's Adrian Young or Adriana Young. Unspoken. Adrian Young. Yeah. Okay. So that's the one that just came out from Book of the Month a little while ago. I ended up sticking around. I'm at work. The reading has not been happening for me because I started a new job and moved to a new neighborhood, hoping to get back into it soon. Hey, same, but different. New job is crazy. I applied for one location, got brought to that location, ended up covering 2 different stores, or actually 3 stores in total. The one that I was supposed to be at plus 2 additional stores for several weeks, popping from location to location. Then I just got told literally 2 days ago that I'm going to be transferred to a new location. So it's just been really, really hectic. So I get the new job stress, and then we're not moving, but we are actually gutting our whole apartment right now. Actually, you can see behind me, like this furniture is just some inexpensive furniture that Oz and I picked up like just post-pandemic. We had just moved in together. Neither one of us had a lot of money to spend on furniture at the time. So we just got like some inexpensive shelves and inexpensive things. And after 5 years of use, things are starting to wear down. And like my shelves, I don't think you can see it, but this shelf here is starting to break. And so we're just going through the house and like redoing all of our furniture. So things are kind of in chaos. I don't necessarily want to like show you all the chaos, but in like full transparency, you can see all those bags by the front door. Those are all donation bags, like literally just gutted my closet and our dressers and everything. So there's 5 bags to go out for donation, and we have furniture in our living room. I have stacks of books over here that have to be organized. So I get it. Not quite moving, but definitely kind of on the same page. Oh my gosh, craziness, job plus house things take so much energy. Yep, that's why I have been kind of struggling to like get back in the routine of the YouTube world. Is like I took this big trip, so I was gone for a whole month. And then like the month prior and the month post, it was just house craziness and like a few medical things and then the job promotions. And yeah, it's just been a lot. But like I said, hopefully back into a rhythm finally. So I hope that you find your rhythm soon too. So how is everybody doing with their books? Did anyone make any progress? Excited about what you're reading? Tell me all the things. Luna, do you want to come up and say hi? Would you like to make an appearance? Come on. Here's Luna to say hello to everybody since she hasn't made an appearance in a reading sprint for a while. She's just same as always, big crazy ball of energy. Probably once we get done with the sprints here, I'm going to head over to our local park and take her for a bit of a longer walk. This morning I had an appointment, so I just took her for a quick walk, and then she's kind of like, hey, Mom, what's going on? We're out of our routine. Oh, my big muffin. All right, so if everybody's ready, then I will go ahead and set the timer for the next sprint as this dog tramples me. I read 7 pages of Dark Matters. I think I'm going to like it. Hi, Luna. Trying to start The Resurrectionist tonight. Hey, I have that one actually right below me. This guy. I got it from Aardvark a while back, but I haven't started it yet. It's just sitting on my shelves being pretty. It's on my like brown display case. 3 pages in, my son says hi to you and Luna. Hello to your son. Hope everybody is doing well. Okay. Are we comfortable? Oh, thank you for the kisses. Are we comfortable? Huh? We ready for another sprint? Okay, let me set up the time. I think 10 minutes works, right? Anyone want longer or shorter? All right, I'm going to put 10 minutes for this one. And yep, got it from Aardvark 2. I'm really in the mood for dark cottagecore, dark academia vibes right now. I get that. I won't say that dark academia is necessarily like my favorite. I'm very, very particular, it seems, but I'm hoping that one will be one that I enjoy. I do really love the cover of it. All right. So I'm going to set 10 minutes on the clock, and then I will see you then. And just let me know if you want longer sprints. I can make the next one longer. Okay, 10 minutes. See you in a bit. Sweet girl. Oh, there's our alarm. Another 10 minutes gone. Awesome. So I made it to page 15. I really like this start of this book so far. It's a very, let's say, gripping introduction to who our character is and what her story is going to be. Let's see. Yep, got it from Aardvark 2. I'm really in the mood. Oh, we talked about that already. Adrian Young normally does fantasy, but this isn't, and I'm loving it. Yeah, I've tried one Adrienne Young book. I believe, what did I read by her? It was whatever the last book that they released through Book of the Month prior to The Sea of Unspoken Things. And it was very romance heavy. And I'm just not a big romance reader, so like I got through the book, but it wasn't really for me. I did like the fantasy elements of it, but I don't think I realized it was going to be so romance prominent. Let's see. Finished a cup of coffee and read 12 pages. Excellent. Sounds like a good mid-morning, I guess. I was going to say morning, but here it's almost noon. But either way, sounds like a great midday break. Cup of coffee and 12 pages. Let's see if I can reach my own coffee here with Luna. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy I'm making some good progress as well. And that was why I'm so excited to get back to these sprints, because they were really helping me knock some books off the TBR. Not that I don't, get in a good amount of reading anyways. Baby, you don't need to be in my face constantly. But it is nice to have some concentrated reading time. Like with how busy life has been lately, it's nice just to like have a couple hours to sit down and focus on getting some reading done. Hello, Luna. Hello. They're saying hello. Can you say hello back? Ah. Oh, you're so hyper right now. This is what happens when she doesn't get enough exercise early in the morning. Okay. What are you trying to do? Huh? What are you trying to do? Okay. Down you go. Come on, go get in your bed. All right. There we go. It's a little bit better. So I think for the next like 2 sprints, I'm going to keep going with Chlorine. And then I think once we hit noon, then I will probably swap over to After Parties and maybe try to read 1 or 2 of the short stories in there. Excuse me. Are you just the cleverest dog? I don't know if you guys saw, I had a big stuffed toy over here and Luna just climbed over my stack of books to get it. So if you hear some squeaking in the background, that's going to be her, because that toy still has a squeaker in it somehow magically. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and set up our next sprint. I think this one I'll do for 15 minutes. It's 11:36. If we do a 15-minute, that'll bring us up to right around 11:50, and then we could do one more short sprint and we'll be across 12. So 15 minutes are on the clock. We'll see you in a little bit. Luna. What were you doing? Luna, stop. Oops. So sorry about that. Phone ringing. All right. There's our timer. So 15 minutes out of the way. I've made it to page 23 in this book. Yeah, this continues to be very interesting so far. So looks like this is going to be a very promising read. I'm excited. And it's not a super long one either. I think this was only like just about 260 pages. Oh, not even 240. So hopefully this will just take me a couple days. How are you guys doing with your reading? I know a couple people are making some progress earlier. Are we liking 15-minute sprints, or do you want to stay at 10-minute sprints? Let me know how you're feeling. Luna's trying to get back up here to say hello again. Hey, I just joined reading 2 books, Babel and Belladonna, so I don't know which one to read. Well, I haven't read Belladonna, so I don't know what to tell you about that. I have read Babel, which I enjoyed, and I'm very particular about my Dark Academia. So that was like one of the first Dark Academia books that I read and really, really enjoyed. So that would be my suggestion. And welcome. Thank you for joining in and saying hello. Luna's also trying to say hello too. Huh. Are you trying to join in on the reading sprints? You're trying to get a cuddle sprint is what you're trying to get. Okay. So we like the 15-minute sprints. Okay, so we'll stick with a 15-minute on the next one. I'm on page 21 and enjoying it so far. Oh, good. I feel like I remember it's been, excuse me. We wait our turn to speak. Madame. When I read Dark Matter, I remember it being pretty engaging pretty quickly. I think really all of Blake Crouch's books that I've read so far, I think they pick up pretty fast, which was one of the things I really liked about him. We'll continue Babel then. What an adorable pup. Thanks. Yeah, she really likes to make appearances in the videos. Even if she's not physically visible in my live streams or my videos, you can like often hear her snoring in the background. And so frequently I'll get comments and be like, hey, is somebody snoring in the background of your video? It's just her. Cool. Well, I hope that you enjoy Babel. I don't know how far you're into it. I do remember it had a little bit of a slower start for me. I think it took a little bit of time to kind of get engaged and invested in the story. But I do think it picked up pretty quickly because I remember a lot of the beginning being like about the background of the main character's story and like being in China and then moving to the UK and all of that. So hopefully you're at a point where it's like engaging and interesting for you. So I do want to mention at this point as well that if you're enjoying reading sprints, I will be having a reading sprint every Thursday through May. My schedule does change, so unfortunately the time for the sprints kind of varies. I think the next 2 are at 9 a.m. and then the one at the end of the month is at a different time. But they are scheduled under the live tab on my BookTube, so you can take a look and see if there are any at a time that you are interested in joining in. And then as we get closer to June, I will schedule reading sprints through June. I think that way, if I try to schedule a month out, it gives everybody the chance to see like when the variable reading sprints are occurring. Love that. At page 60 something, definitely a bit of a slow start, but it's starting to pick up the pace now. Yeah, definitely. I kind of remember that as well because there was like a lot of backstory at the beginning and then like it starts to pick up in action. I think if I remember correctly, the main character's name was Robin. And I want to say that as they started getting into his like history and how he came to be at the school and like his goals with Babel and all that, I think that was where I started to like really pick up interest in the story. And then you meet some of the supporting characters and they have interesting stories as well. So hopefully it'll pick up for you. All right. So I'm going to set a 15-minute sprint and then we will assess from there. Usually in the past, I've run like 2 hours of reading sprints. We're right at the 1 hour point for the day. So we'll check in after this one and see how everyone's feeling. And if everybody's good to keep going, we'll read for a few more sprints. So we have 15 minutes on the clock and I will see you then. Hopefully everybody makes good progress on their books. Luna, stop. Go lay down. Go on, go lay down. Go lay down. Go lay down. All right. There's the end of our 15 minutes. Okay, I made it to page 39. That chapter was a little more challenging. There was some kind of very visceral descriptions of some stuff in there that was, I guess, maybe I was not prepared for. Not that it's anything that's like particularly gross in and of itself, but just more like it went on for several pages describing the situation. So that was interesting. But I am still really liking this book. How's everybody coming along? Are you enjoying what you're reading so far? Anyone going to be switching books for the next couple of reading sprints? I think I actually might just stick with this one for one or two more. I'm pretty invested in the storyline. I thought that I was going to switch over to my short story collection, which I still may. I've had this book for such a long time. I feel like I've had it for almost the whole time that I've been on BookTube, and I've been meaning to read it. This is a series of short stories featuring Cambodian Americans in Southern California. I grew up in Southern California, so like I think a lot of these stories like are going to be things that are familiar to me. And then this author unfortunately passed away shortly after he published this book, and so this is like his only published work. Aside from, I think they went back and like published an essay or something of his after he passed away. But yeah, I've had this on my shelf for a long time and I keep meaning to read it. And I just, for whatever reason, like other books take precedence, I guess. So I was kind of hoping to pick up some of the short stories from this. I did find like last time that I was doing the reading sprints consistently, that it was nice to have a short story collection to read through the whole month, because I would read like 2 stories during one round of reading sprints and then 2 stories during the next week, et cetera, until the book was finished. So I may do that for like the last 2 sprints today. So, I mean, I'm pretty happy. I feel like I'm making good progress. 40 pages into a book is not bad at all. Yeah, not bad. Let's see. Page 76. Getting that they're in the Babel building now. Oh, I remember there was some really interesting mechanisms like protecting the Babel building. I don't know if they talk about it yet. I feel like it was maybe a little bit later in the story, but the Babel building can get very interesting. I'm on page 42. I'm going to switch to In Limbo because I want to share it in my LFL after I'm done. That's awesome. So if you haven't met my mom yet, Rochelle is my mom, and she is actually the person that got me into bookish social media. She has a really great Instagram, LFL Book Adventures, and she posts all about the things that she's reading and what she's doing with her little free library. She has a super cool little free library in San Diego, and she has like a little like dog library as well. There's like toys and treats and sticks and stuff. And she has like a little drawer that she puts goodies for the kiddos. She has a chalkboard or a whiteboard that she like writes about which holiday it is or what kind of books she's featuring. And so it's just really cool to see like how this little free library has grown from like initially where it was just like the little free library box, and like it's now been painted and decorated, and you know, she coordinates it for the holidays and features books like that go along with the holidays and everything. And I really love especially that she focuses on featuring diverse literature. Instead of just kind of the same, you know, popular books over and over and over again. Ooh. Hey there, thanks for joining in. We're doing good today. We're about an hour and 15 minutes into the sprints. I think most of us are making decent progress, and welcome. I think we're going to run maybe 3 or 4 more sprints depending on how everyone is feeling. So very happy to have you joining. What are you reading today? Yes, that's how I met your mom. Thanks to our LFLs. I'm on page 33. Yes. So Cynthia is a lovely friend from Instagram as well. My mom and I actually had the pleasure of going on a road trip out to Pasadena last year, and we got to meet Cynthia while we were there. And so much fun. And this is like the thing. So I really love social media for this, is like getting to build friendships and relationships, and then like actually getting to meet people in person. And I don't know, it's just a lot of fun. So I'm really grateful to the social media realm for like getting to meet so many cool people. Oh, checking it out. And the short stories idea is smart, probably makes the reading sprints a bit easier. Yeah, I think that's kind of what I noticed last time, is it was like nice to be able to like finish a story within the 15 minutes and then like take a break and then start a new story fresh. I mean, it still works as well for books that are like an ongoing book. It's just sometimes I feel like with the ongoing books, I end up like stopping in, what am I trying to say? Sometimes I feel like sorry, my brain just like out of my head. Sometimes I feel like the stopping point is weird for like a full-scale book on a reading sprint, because if you're like stopping at 15 minutes and you're like in the middle of a chapter, sometimes for me at least, I feel like I want to get to the end of the chapter to have like a clean break. But it doesn't always work that way. And the beauty of doing multiple sprints is that I can keep going from there. I'm currently reading Sunrise on the Reaping and a 17 fan fiction called Stupid Idiot, which is a slow burn romance with 2 members of the K-pop group 17. Oops. By the way, I probably don't have to say this, but the members of 17 aren't dating in real life. I'm also watching Going 17, which is a 17 variety show. I've seen it 5 times and it's so funny and comforting. Okay, cool. Sunrise on the Reaping, that is the new Hunger Games one, right? I don't think I've read that, or I shouldn't say I don't think. I know I haven't read it yet. It's on my radar. And then 17 fan fiction. So I'm so glad that you actually explained who 17 was, because I'm not super familiar with K-pop. And I wouldn't have known otherwise, like who you're referring to. So that's exciting. I love fan fiction. I think it's such a cool creative outlet. I grew up like in an era when fan fiction was like a really big thing. And so it's pretty cool to see how like big of a part of culture it is nowadays. And like, I remember when it was kind of like a nerdy, shadowy thing that people did in a corner. So I love that like people are like so into it, the fan fiction and stuff now. I definitely wrote quite a few when I was younger and read quite a few. And it's kind of cool to see like fan fiction about a band. Most of the time, the fan fiction that I was reading revolved around like popular series at the time. Oh, how Sunrise on the Reaping. Want to read it soon. Yeah, please share some details. I don't know how far into it you are, but are you liking it so far? I always have to specify that 17 is K-pop because I know and I'm aware that not many people know them. Yeah, I think at least where I'm at, K-pop is really, really popular. I live in Las Vegas right now. And so I'm just about to turn 37 here in a couple weeks. But I work with a lot of people that are in their late teens and early 20s. And many of them are super, super into K-pop. I hear a lot about like both K-pop and J-pop. And actually, I have a book on my TBR this month. Let me get just out of interest. I don't know if you've heard of it or it's a book that's interesting to you, but it's about K-pop specifically. And I have it on my TBR for this month. It was an ARC that I was sent. And it's all about K-pop and like that being a cultural phenomenon. So it's called I'll Love You Forever by Jie Kwan. There's the audio cover of it, but I actually have a physical copy too. So I think that this is basically about this person's like experiences with K-pop and like growing up with that culture. So I'm very excited to read it because I honestly like don't know that much about the K-pop world. And so I'm curious to see like what this person has to say. Let's see. It is a meditation that blends a memoir and cultural criticism to explore how the author's love affair with K-pop has shaped her sense of self, charting K-pop's complex coming of age through some of its biggest idols. Yeah, I know it touches like on BTS and some of the like bigger, more mainstream groups. So kind of interesting for me. Hopefully I'll learn a little bit more about the K-pop world. And Sunrise on the Reaping is really good. I'm 50% through, which is page 192 out of 382. It's literally so good. Awesome. I'm happy to hear that. I was like slightly disappointed with Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes. Is that the right title? I didn't hate it, but like I also didn't love it. I just felt like it was just okay. I don't know if it went as far as I wanted it to go. And I don't know that I found it 100% convincing in like how Snow became who he is. Like I wanted him, I don't know, I wanted to see like more of a convincing descent, I guess. And I feel like it was just kind of like a heartbreak. He went from being a decent guy to all of a sudden being a monster. And I just didn't see it. I don't know. I just didn't see it giving enough time for that full progression. So I've been a little bit like hesitant about Sunrise on the Reaping, but I'm glad to hear that you're really liking it so far. Oh my God, I want that book right now. Clapping in Excitement. I've read XOXO and ASAP by Axio, and their romance is about a K-pop idol. And I loved that book. I loved the talks about the K-pop world. Well, that one is a memoir that I was just mentioning. And like I said, I hope it's interesting to you since you're really into the K-pop world. You probably have a better understanding of some of it than I will. I'm just excited to like kind of delve into it and learn a bit more. And of course, the romance. And I don't usually love romance, so that's a tell that it was so good. Awesome. All right. I think at this point, I will get our next sprint set up. I'm going to set up 15 minutes on the clock, and then we can regroup when we are all done. So I'm going to read a little bit more of Chlorine, and then I think after this one, I will switch to my short stories. I'll let this airplane pass for a second. I live right by an airport, so if you hear airplanes flying by periodically, that is why. All right, 15 minutes on the clock. I'll see you guys in a little bit. Hey, all done. No, Luna, all done. Hey, all done. Thank you, Mama, but we're done. All done. All right. End of that reading sprint. So I made it to page 53. This book is under 250 pages long, so I'm excited. I'm a whole fifth done with this book. This is definitely an interesting read, going in different directions that I didn't expect. Let's see. I have to go. I have an appointment. Thanks for the reading sprints. Thank you for stopping by, Mom. Glad that you could join us for some of them. Good luck with your appointment. I don't know about anyone else, but I love reading a book. And when I find a word or words like fighting or stupid idiot, and it reminds me of a K-pop song title, I love annotating it and writing the song. That's good. I mean, I think that annotating books can be really fun. And I think, everybody has their own style. So like whatever works for you, all good. It reminded me of that. I find that so fun. Cool. I read 2 pages. Haha. 2 pages is progress. 2 pages is 2 pages that you hadn't finished before. And it took me a while to get settled. That happens to me sometimes too. Especially like at the very beginning of the sprints, I tend to need a little bit of time to kind of buckle down. Page 86 for me, 10 pages. Just got the words of Babel. Awesome. I'm glad that you're making some progress. And Babel is such a big book too. I feel like, I think when I first picked it up, I was like a little bit intimidated by the size of it. I definitely have a tendency to gravitate towards books that are between like 200 to 400 pages. And anytime books go over 400 pages, I, for some reason, get like, I'm not sure if I want to dedicate that much time to reading a book. Because I'm like one of those people, once I start reading a book, I pretty much will always finish it. Like every great once in a while, I'll DNF something. But for the most part, I feel like once I start, I want to know how it finishes. I have dyslexia, so I'm a slow reader. Honestly, like there is no proper speed to read. And I feel like having dyslexia, it's like makes things a little bit more challenging. So like kudos to you for pursuing it and continuing to read and enjoy books and everything. That's great. I know for me, I don't like deal with dyslexia, but I deal with like concentration and focus issues and things like that. So I've had to adapt little strategies here and there to help me like be able to buckle down and focus. So yeah, kudos to you for continuing to read. It's huge, yeah, ha ha ha, and the font is tiny. It is. I think I have it on my shelf over here somewhere. This shelf behind me is my monochrome shelf, so it's all black, white, and gray books. And I have Babel in there somewhere. I used to have it as a display book, but at the moment it's not out. I have Babel, but I don't know. I've never read Dark Academia before. So it's a genre for me that is kind of hit and miss. I do like some Dark Academia. I don't love all Dark Academia. I feel like a lot of dark academia for me is often like about rich people at universities, and like, I don't know, I just don't really relate to that. But Babel, I thought, was a very unique take on it. I liked that it was more diverse, that it featured characters from different backgrounds. It wasn't just like a bunch of rich kids at Harvard. And so that made it a more interesting book for me. Page 49, I'm hooked. Feels like a Black Mirror episode. Yeah. So Blake Crouch is great for that kind of a vibe. I think every book that I've read by his, I think I've read 3. I've read Recursion, Dark Matters, and I don't remember what the third one was called. Upgrade. Just kidding. And all 3 of them kind of had that like intense Black Mirror sort of a feel. I really love the way that he kind of meshes sci-fi with that thriller suspense sort of vibe. So hopefully you'll continue to enjoy it. And I'm the opposite. Honestly, I love a big book. The first book I read was 18, and it was It by Stephen King, and that is my favorite book of all time. I love it. I have read some Stephen King, and it's not to say that I won't read big books at all. I just tend to like procrastinate because, like I said, once I get into a book, I tend to want to read the whole book. And I think I get nervous with like really long books that if I'm not really enjoying it, I'm going to have to struggle through 600 or 700 pages, if that makes sense. I tried some contemporary romance books. I tried 4, and I don't know, they were all problematic. I don't know if I'm missing something, but I hated all 4 of them. So I've decided that contemporary romance is not my genre. So, I mean, I'm not a big romance reader myself. I'll read like romance as a minor subplot in a story, but I won't pick up contemporary romance pretty much at all. No shame or hate to anyone that like enjoys that. I know lots of people really love romance, and kudos to whatever you're reading. But for me, I kind of actually feel very similarly to you. I've tried a handful of the popular romances. I know I tried It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I've read some Kennedy Ryan. You know, I try like every year to read 1 or 2 romances just to kind of see. And it's just not a genre for me. I think romance is probably like my least read genre. And then I think going into like other genres that I don't read as much, I think I stopped reading as many thrillers. Not because I don't enjoy thrillers, but just because I think I've read so many of them that I start to find them like repetitive or a little bit predictable. And so I'm a little bit more particular now, I guess, in that area. I tried Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin, and that was problematic. I tried a Colleen Hoover book, and she was an author. She as an author is problematic. And I tried If He Had Been With Me, and It Ends With Us was not for me either. I usually read YA cute romances if I do, mostly the feel-good books. Haha. I agree with pretty much everything that was said. Oh, I see 2 different comments. Hold on a second. And I tried If He Had Been With Me, and that was problematic too. Then I tried Spanish Love Deception, and that was fine, but very boring. And then, It Ends With Us was not for me either. I usually read YA cute romances if I do, mostly the feel good books. Haha. Yeah. I don't know. I do think that there's value in portraying like toxic relationships or, the dark side of humanity and things like that. But I think what I struggled with It Ends With Us and some of that is that I felt like it was more glamorizing than like critiquing, if that makes sense. For me, like abusive relationships are just not romantic. And so when it's like paired with the romance genre and sold as a romance novel, I think I kind of struggled with that. I would say like Kennedy Ryan, I enjoyed a little bit more. I read one of her books a year or 2 ago, and it was decent. It was about a couple kind of rekindling a romance after they'd been divorced. And I felt like it was a little bit more close to reality and some of the things that I've seen friends experience. I read It's All About Ember, something like that by Danica Nava last year. That was okay. But yeah, it's just not really for me. I have read Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin, and I honestly was bored out of my mind with that book. I know that it won like Book of the Year with Book of the Month, and everybody just really loved it. And for me, it was just not for me. I didn't get a lot of it. I kind of just slogged through it. like I said, I love XOXO and ASAP and their contemporary romance, but they weren't problematic or super explicit with the spicy scenes, just sweet, fluffy romance. Cool. I don't even like, for me, like the spice really isn't the problem. I don't mind a spicy scene. I just want, I want plot, not just straight spice, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not particularly bothered by description or anything like that. I just, like some books, it seems like there's no plot. It's just the point is to have spicy scenes. And so for me, like if spicy scenes exist, all good, but like give me some story in between. So, all right, it is 12:45. So I'm going to do one last reading sprint. And then I have to sign off for the day because I have some things to do this afternoon. And the one Colleen Hoover I read was November 9th. And I'm sorry, but I don't want to read a romance about a guy who caused the main female character's house fire. Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, I haven't read that one after I tried It Ends With Us. I just couldn't get into any of her other stuff. So, but that description just reaffirms for me that I am not the target audience for her writing. All right. I'm going to set up that 15-minute timer. We'll get in that one last sprint. And then I have to head out to do some things this afternoon. But in advance, thank you everybody for popping in. This has been a really fun sprint and lots chatting and good discourse about books and stuff. So I've really enjoyed this. Let me set up that timer and we can finish up. Okay, 15 minutes on the clock. All right. So I've made it to page 61 for the day, and I think that's where we're going to be leaving it. Let's see. Have to go now, but this was fun. Have a nice day. Hey, thank you so much for joining. It was great to have you here. Hopefully you'll get to join in on some of the other ones. I have a super high cringe meter, so any sexual descriptions just make me feel ill. I don't even like seeing sex scenes in movies or TV shows, and half the time they're not realistic. And I get that they're fictional novels, but still. Yeah, I get it. I also find them to not be the most realistic. I guess it depends on the book that you're reading for sure. Because I have read books that handle things like that better than others. But I also get that like that's not for everyone. You know, no shame either way. Yeah. I read 2 more pages. Good for you. So we've made some progress for the day, and that is the most important thing, right? And that you had fun, of course. Allison, miss your videos, so it's nice to see you for sprints. Hey, thank you so much for saying so. I've mentioned it a couple times in recent live streams / videos, but I've just been really, really hectic. I got a couple promotions this year, and life has just been changing rapidly. I got promoted about a month and a half ago to run a store. Then I got pulled into running 3 stores. Now I'm getting moved to another store. And so things have just been kind of hectic and crazy. And I've been remodeling my apartment. And then we traveled for the whole month of March. So it's just been a little bit chaotic. But videos are coming soon. I did post my TBR for the month, I think on the 1st or 2nd of the month. So that is up there. I did a weekly update on Sunday. I've been here for the reading sprints today. And I'm hoping to have a new video up tonight and a new video up tomorrow. Fingers crossed that I get finished with the editing. But my goal is to at least try to post 1 video a week going forward, at least for May so far. As far as I can anticipate, that should be realistic. So thank you so much for stopping in and saying hello. And hopefully I'll have some more up soon. Because I annotate, I read even slower than normal because I'm a perfectionist. I need to take my time to underline, and because of my dyslexia, I write slow as well. Totally good. However you enjoy reading, that's the important thing. Like, it's not a race. Nobody is trying to be the fastest reader. You know, mostly the importance here is just to carve out some time to sit down and read your book and relax and enjoy it, and then chat a little bit in between. So it is 1:05 and I have to start getting some things done. My week extends into the weekend since I don't have a set schedule, and I am required to work at least 1 day on the weekend. So like on my mid-week break, which is usually on Thursdays, I like to take some time to get my grocery list together. Usually Oz and I do some shopping on Fridays and kind of organize who's cooking for the weekend, and, you know, if we need to get any ingredients, and we plan for the upcoming week and everything. So that's kind of my plan now. I'm going to start getting organized. And then usually Thursday nights, we do a house clean. That's like our cleaning day where Oz and I just kind of buckle down for a couple hours and put everything back in place. So I've got all sorts of fun things like laundry and grocery lists and whatnot to do now. And I've got to take Miss Luna out for a longer walk because this morning I only had time to take her for a short one. So she needs some exercise. So big thank you to everybody for stopping in. It was so lovely to see so many familiar faces and to meet some new people. I really appreciate everybody stopping by to say hello. And I'm so glad that I was able to make some progress in my book, and so glad that so many of you were able to make some progress in your books as well. I do have a reading sprint scheduled for next Thursday. I believe it is at 9 a.m. And I have reading sprints scheduled basically every Thursday through the end of May. As I get closer to June, I will schedule reading sprints through June as well. As long as Thursdays still look like they're going to be my normal day off, I will continue that trend. And if not, I will schedule another day. But just be on the lookout for those. If you're ever curious what I have scheduled for lives, you can go to Live tab and look at what I've scheduled out through the month. So I'll be back on Sunday for a weekly update. It is a live stream where I just update what I've been reading, what I'm looking forward to reading in the next month. And then I'll be back on Thursday for another reading sprint. Thanks again, everybody. I hope that you have an excellent day or evening, whatever time of day it is for you. And I'll see you soon. Thank you for the sprints. It was nice to chat and read. Yes, it was. Thank you for popping in.